Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching In Depth
on Now You Know. We're brought to you by abetterrouteplanner.com, our favorite EV trip planner with waypoints. Use our link in the show notes below to get a 30-day free trial to the A Better Route Planner premium app. Plan your next EV trip with abetterrouteplanner.com.
And we're sponsored by our friends at the solar-powered hotels in Schaumburg, Illinois, the Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott, and the Town Place Suite Hotel, which is right next door. They're both connected, and they're both solar-powered.
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chim.
What are you doing? Huh?
Pish posh, crisps, garage.
Hello, Governor. What are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm just trying to fool my computer into thinking that I'm in England.
Why are you doing that?
Well, young man, I'm trying to take part in Rick and Morty on Netflix.
Rick and Morty isn't on Netflix.
Well, perhaps you Yanks don't have access to it across the pond, but here in jolly old England, we get to watch it.
Why don't you just use Surfshark? It's an app and browser extension that lets you place your laptop or phone anywhere in the world so you can access content that you may not usually be able to see in your country.
So I can watch Rick and Morty, Mad Men, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Doctor Who, and Friends on Netflix? All for less than signing up for an extra streaming service?
Yep, if you use our code NYK, you'll get an 84% discount and 4 extra months for free, and you'll get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you can try it out.
Yeah, check out the link at the top of the show notes below.
We're sponsored by BigBattery.com with the best battery prices in the USA guaranteed. If you've got something you need to power, from homes to cars, RVs to boats, and much more, BigBattery.com has you covered, offering the newest battery tech. Use the code NOWYOUKNOW to save 5% off your purchase today at BigBattery.com. All right, so happy holidays to everybody. This has been a tough year for everyone around the world, but it hasn't been all bad.
In fact, we're really lucky that so many new viewers have joined us.
And so we thought we'd take this opportunity to look back on some of the highlights that we've had this year and even go further back.
Maybe some of the things you've missed.
And maybe find a video of ours that you didn't know existed, because we've produced over 1,000 videos. So I don't know about you, but I think one of the happiest moments from this year was when our electric performance Model 3 racing team won at Pikes Peak in August.
I just remember that you and I couldn't be there because of travel restrictions, and we were watching the race on this crappy Facebook feed. They were talking about gas cars the whole way that we were watching a, electric race car scream up the mountain. And then when we found out that we actually won, we were jumping up and down like a couple of idiots.
Yeah, I mean, it was so exciting because I think we lowered the bar. We thought, let's just get up safely. And then we won against other Model 3 teams. And
it was so awesome because it was a community-sponsored race car. I think it's the first time that this has ever happened, or at least that we know of, at Pikes Peak. And it was also the fastest Tesla up Pikes Peak ever. And we won in our whole category. We smoked some very smoky competition.
Yeah. And it was all possible because we had this crazy idea that we'd ask you to help sponsor the car, because we had no idea how expensive it is to enter a car in a race. And we did this on a shoestring budget, to be honest, which is only possible because it was electric. I mean, every other gas car, it costs so much money just to keep fixing it after every race. The Model 3 is just, it's a workhorse.
Yeah, and so this might be one of the reasons why this is the first community-sponsored car, but we had 150 of you sponsoring the car, had your names on the car, and that was really kind of magical to me because, it wasn't just like, we're going to race up the mountain, we're going to be the best. We were carrying a lot of people with us.
Yeah. And, even before Pikes Peak in August, we went to Fully Charged Live in January in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. And what's crazy to think back is now that we know how the COVID has worked, we were probably traveling during COVID.
It scares me to think of how many hands I shook. I don't care about me. I just I don't know. I shook a lot of hands at Fully Charged Live. It was so nice to actually meet so much of our audience. Before that, it was just, emails. It felt like I had, 1,000 pen pals in the world. It was so nice to have everyone in one place. So that was really cool. And yeah, it led to a lot of exciting things. It really showed us what we could do with our channel.
But, we've done so much more before this year, and I think there's so many new viewers who have signed on you might not know, and I kind of want to pat ourselves on the back a little bit here. A lot of what we've done is buried in that 1,000 videos that you see when you go to YouTube, because let's be honest, if you go to our YouTube channel page, which most people don't even do, you'd have to scroll down 1,000 videos to get to some of them.
I think that people kind of get overwhelmed if, one of their friends is into the show Friends, and they're like, you should really watch it. It would take longer to watch all of our content than it would to watch all of Friends, because we have more videos than all of the episodes of Friends put together, and a lot of our videos are well over the 22 minutes that Friends is.
Right.
So I totally understand if you do not know what to watch. So we're going to give you kind of a little
curated view
list, the things that we remember, because honestly, I don't remember all 1,000 videos.
I know.
The first one would be one of the first things that we did on this channel, which was the Model X road trip. Back in 2016, you were pretty much one of the first people in the world to have a Tesla Model X,
right?
Which sounds boring now, but at the time, there was nothing else like it in the whole world. And
it was like number 200 off the factory line.
Right. And we loved driving it around our little neck of the woods. And as soon as we figured out how amazing supercharging was, we were pretty hooked, and we were like,
Let's just drive to San Francisco.
Yeah. So we did.
25 states, 75 superchargers in 16 days. And then the crazier part, I think, is that every night we uploaded the footage, no matter how bad the Wi-Fi was at the hotel, to Brent and Bobby, who had to edit it and get it out the next day.
Which, looking back on it,
was totally not necessary.
4 years later, we could have sat on that footage a while. But it was kind of what kicked off our channel, and it was so exciting to be in that time when this was brand new. Supercharging was brand new. People had no idea. We were showing up to places. We were the first Model X to ever arrive, and
or the first Tesla.
In some cases, yeah. Putting up the Falcon Wing doors, to outsiders, it looked like aliens had just landed.
And it's where this idea percolated of butts and seats, I think, because we saw that when people actually experienced the cars in person, they got they walked away feeling like they understood the technology, whereas, you can hear about it online all you want. It's different when you experience it in person.
Right. And it's also where we came up kind of with the concept of Tesla Time News. Tesla Time was when you arrived at a supercharger. It was so new for everyone that you'd get out of your car and you'd talk to all the other Tesla owners. And what is Elon up to? What is he doing? And there was just a bunch of different rumors of like, I think that there's going to be some kind of Model 3 in the future. And you're like, what are you talking about? That's where we came up with a lot of the stuff for this channel. So, was it the best work we've ever done? No.
A lot of learning.
We did a lot of learning over that trip.
And then, like you said, we got back and we started Tesla Time News from doing it in the car. So our early episodes, you'll see us just driving around or sitting there in the car, which turns out to be a horrible way to do a news show. So I recommend you not starting that way. And, then we were so hooked on road trips that we immediately wanted to do another one.
Right. And so we were looking at the supercharger map, and there was one supercharger in the middle of the ocean, it seemed, right off the tip of Florida. And it was on Key West, or Marathon, one of the keys of the Florida Keys. And we're like, if we can go, then we can go. We're going to go. So we did it. So, if you drew a bounding box of where we traveled in a Tesla using the supercharger network, it would pretty much encompass the entire United States.
And that started another kind of trend, which was we wanted to review the superchargers. So we started a supercharger reviews page on our website, which now hundreds and thousands of people have gone to, and lots have uploaded their reviews, which we show on Tesla Time News every week. And it's just a wonderful way to be a community, I think.
Right. It's nice to have physical places that many people can visit and that you kind of need to go to.
Right.
And, I know that a lot of them are just in parking lots, but we've also seen, very beautiful supercharger locations. And, we've been to some very beautiful supercharger locations. And that kind of brings us to some of our other trips, including our Scandinavian trip, where we went to Denmark and Sweden. It was the first time I think I had driven outside of the United States.
Yeah.
And it was very cool because I got to do it in a Tesla Model S. And we went pretty much everywhere in Denmark. We covered almost the entire country.
Yeah, it was so fun to travel with you and Steven and TJ, and we got to see things like, for instance, I remember we tried to go to the northernmost point in Denmark, right? We saw it on the map, I think the night before, and we're like, let's go tomorrow.
It's not just that it's the northernmost point. You get to see the two seas. They meet, and you can see a difference or something. And we never got to saw it because, well, the map looked like there was a road that went straight to it, and it turns out that it was a beach.
Which we drove onto the beach.
We drove quite a ways on the beach until we encountered a big puddle.
And it was soft sand. And I think you would have kept going.
We would have made it. It's an all-wheel drive car. I've done way dumber things in my car, which is only rear-wheel drive.
I am the bad guy here. I know. I said no because honestly, I thought we would have left.
We had air suspension and everything.
I know.
But you're right. If we had been stranded on a Danish beach,
that would have been the end of our career.
In a loaned Model S, I totally agree.
But then we got the bug to go further north in Scandinavia, so we went up to the ice hotel in the northernmost Arctic regions of Sweden, which was an amazing adventure. Very few of you saw that video, actually. That's one of the videos I'm actually most proud of because we actually had to sleep over that night in an ice hotel, which very few people have done, and I don't know if I'll ever do again because that was cold.
It was way too cold. I thought, I like having the heat turned off in my house when I'm sleeping, get under the heated blanket, that's nice. That's how I sleep. But
that was a rough night.
Not when it's 0 degrees Fahrenheit in a room and you're in one sleeping bag. That's a different experience.
But it wasn't an experience.
Yeah. And we got to see the Northern Lights. It was very cool.
It was really cool. And then I think we got the bug because following year, we did the Model 3 Euro road trip. The first time that we know of that a Model 3 traveled 9 European countries. And we tried to show you the supercharger network there and also the non-supercharger network. And it was really fascinating to see all those places, to meet all those people, and to show you how charging works in all those countries.
And you got to interview a lot of really amazing people. I mean, you had a spreadsheet going with... none of your spreadsheets are usually less than about 1,000 cells. But this one was extraordinarily complex, and it was all to meet a bunch of interesting people, to go to a lot of interesting places, and to have to hit superchargers along the way.
Yeah.
And you really made that one happen.
Yeah, it was really fantastic, and I want to do it again.
Yeah. And aside from trips, we've also poured a lot of effort into a couple of series that we've done. The first one that we did was our Autonomous Driving Future series. And this kind of covers everything to do with autonomous robotaxis, how that is going to change the world, and a lot of the benefits that are completely hidden. Because, when you're thinking about robotaxis, you're not thinking about, parking lots. You're not thinking about, the cost of how much you're actually paying to drive a car. There's so many hidden costs and fees that you're constantly paying by owning a vehicle compared to, and we cover all of that in the Autonomous Driving Future series.
Yeah, it was a little before its time, though, I think, because I think it went over the heads of most people watching it, because at the time, this was like 3 years ago, there wasn't even a mention of a robotaxi network.
Right.
So I just kind of urge you to go watch it because it all is still true today.
Yeah. And that wasn't the only series that we did. We also did the Boring Company series where we talked about, why we think the Boring Company might be worth more than Tesla someday.
Yeah, it was really fun collaborating with Ross Tessian on that because, there's so many insights into that company, which I think most people miss because they think it's boring.
One that you should really you have to go way back to find is our 1910 versus 2010 video. This one was just kind of this idea that we had constantly been drumming upon back in, I think it was 2016, where, what would it be like, to go back in time to 1910 when the first motor cars were first coming out, and what were people, if you told someone about it, what would their response be of like, why would you do that? I think that's one of our most classic videos if you want to get a real good quintessential look back at our some of our stuff. And then another series that we did was Elon the Disruptor. And that was all inspired by one in-depth that we did, where I think we had spent all night just jumping up and down, going crazy about all of the different sectors that Elon was disrupting. And we were like, we made this in depth. It was probably the most dense in depth you've ever seen. It's like a fruitcake. And then we were like, we should make a series about it because, one in depth is just like too much. You need one thing at a time. So I urge you to go watch all of those series. It's vacation right now for a lot of people. So if you're, relaxing and you've obviously watched everything on Netflix this year, go back and
you're running out of content. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And that kind of brings us to our in-depths. We do one every week.
Yeah, I mean, this is our 201st in-depth, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because it was supposed to be, in the beginning, the idea was just a quick show, 5 minutes long, to jump into a story just a few minutes longer than we had for Tesla Time News.
And that's back when Tesla Time News was 20 minutes long.
Right.
There has been more news in the world about EVs and about sustainable energy since we started this channel.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting because... Well, when we started, it was just kind of, what's Tesla doing? And that's it.
In the beginning, an in-depth was an obvious topic because there was nothing else to talk about that week other than whatever that topic was.
Right.
Nowadays, we got 6 different ideas and we're like, I don't know which one to pick.
But there have been a few that stick out, at least in my mind, as some of the best in-depths that we've ever done. The first one would be how you can defund big oil for free. This one is how you can change your banking and how that can actually impact the world.
Yeah, and we set up a spreadsheet, and we've already moved, or should I say, you've already moved millions of dollars worth of money out of big oil and into good banking companies.
All without spending a penny.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is something that I can definitely be proud of. A video that actually made a millions of dollars difference to oil companies, really sticking it to them.
And we're starting to see the effects of it now, because look at Exxon. It's smaller than Tesla.
Right. And we're hearing about coal plants that are being shut down, banks that aren't financing coal plants, all because of, you and people who don't want to see this thing happening anymore. Another great in-depth that we did was on the Osborne effect, what big auto isn't telling you.
And understanding the Osborne effect will give you insights galore into all sorts of companies that confront this effect every day.
Right.
I mean, it kind of played out at Battery Day, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And understanding it made you understand what Elon could and couldn't say at Battery Day. For me, the video that we did where we explained Jack Rickard's conspiracy theory, first of all, it was a big video, I think, because we used the word conspiracy in the title. But it was really great to hear from Jack. He appreciated it, that we were getting the word out about what he had to say. And of course, he passed this year, which was sad. But I'm really glad that we got to kind of connect before he did.
One of my favorite episodes, and you can tell when an episode is really my favorite because we have a terrible thumbnail, right? Yeah, on YouTube, you're supposed to have a thumbnail that's really catchy. Ours was the Magic School Bus. And we called the episode The Magic School Bus.
And nobody watched it.
And nobody really watched it because what were you clicking on anyway? But I really urge you to go back and watch that one. It's about electric school buses and how they can absolutely fundamentally change the way an entire city could work.
Yeah.
They could be the biggest key to switching to renewable energy.
They're right before our noses, and yet they're the largest fleet in America, and we don't even think about it.
Right. So that one is really good. We also talk about pollution and how that affects children's brains, which is, the brains of tomorrow, if you really think about it.
Yeah. And then, a recent in-depth is we went down to Westport, Connecticut, and got to show off their Tesla police car, and we got to ride in it.
Yep. And we got to interview the chief. It was extraordinarily valuable to see, what are the challenges that police departments face when they, want to implement, electric police cars, how a lot of this stuff is just a bunch of myths of like, you'll run out of juice. It's like a lot of that stuff is not true. And it was nice talking to an actual police chief who actually had one of these in his fleet, and he's like, yeah, we're probably going to be switching to these. So if you haven't seen that one, I highly urge you check that one out,
because that video could actually change how police departments around the country are going to buy their next vehicle.
Right. And it's a real obvious one to me. You have one of the most high performance vehicles, American vehicles on the road. It kind of makes sense to switch to them, ignoring even economics and pollution and everything else that would make it a wise choice to begin with.
Yeah. Not to mention safety.
I think that one of the deeper, funner jokes of this channel revolves around Vinny Bamboozalini,
My buddy Vinny.
who is a character that you came up with in response to dealerships.
Yeah, we needed a way to talk about the FUD. Remember, there's so much FUD going on. There still is, but we needed a fun way to talk about it, and it's great to have a character that you can who embodies all the FUD, and that's Vinny.
Vinny Bamboozalini, the car dealer who sells the Combustra 9000.
And I still have a dream every now and then, a reoccurring dream, that I'm on stage as Vinny Bamboozalini, and I'm actually getting to present with Elon. I feel like someday it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen where he's doing a new product reveal, and Vinny walks out and is like, "Elon, you're full of crap."
So it's kind of like the Key and Peele anger interpreter for Obama kind of deal. I see. Yeah.
Yeah, because on this channel, there's a lot of dry topics, let's be honest. When we're talking about batteries and kilowatt hours and stuff like that, there's a part of our audience that totally geeks out on that, and I totally get that. And then there's a part of our audience who might be sitting in the room with you right now who doesn't really want to hear about numbers. They just want to talk about a certain other aspect. And so we have to try and find a way on the show every week to talk to both those audiences, the super geeks and the super anti-tech people. And I think comedy is the way that we've come up with that's a good balance to try and find a way to tell the story and keep it interesting, but also lighthearted enough that you want to watch it.
Right.
But that's what's happened on the channel. What's so exciting to me always is what's coming up. And this year more than ever, I think it's become, I want to say real. The first one is the Roadsters.
Yeah. A while back, Tesla was doing their kind of referral program. And one of the things was if you referred enough Tesla vehicles, you could earn yourself a Tesla Roadster. And we have earned ourselves 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 in my account, and they say referral prize. And
that's the amazing thing. Like, we knew on paper that we had done this, but until just a couple weeks ago when actually they appeared in our accounts, we weren't sure if it would really happen. Because let's be honest, it seemed like a dream. I just thought maybe we dreamt it.
Because it's going to be the fastest production vehicle in the world, hands down. It's going to be the quickest production vehicle in the world, hands down. We want to get a SpaceX package.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that it would be
getting that
rocket car with rockets integrated into it.
Because as Elon says, you need something to look forward to. And what better to look forward to than a rocket car? And what more to look forward to than keeping it in your garage perfectly pristine where no one will ever see it? No, I'm kidding. The whole point of getting these cars is to get them dirty, to get them out, and to show them to you and to get butts and seats. That's what I dream of doing, because I know that is going to move the needle forward.
Because as we've seen in our experience, getting someone in the passenger seat or the driver's seat of a Tesla is the one thing that really, really, really changes their mind. You can have the most deep intellectual conversations with people about, range anxiety and efficiency and all of the other benefits of electric cars and pollution. All of that they can totally be on board with, but they just won't make the switch until they get in that passenger seat and the pedal goes all the way to the floor and their head goes all the way back. And I'm convinced that there is a part of the human brain that has a switch in it. And as soon as you exert enough G-forces, it just goes click and you go, I get it.
I'm proof of that, because the night that I got to sit in the Roadster and experience it, before even knowing that there'd be a chance that I could earn one, I ran to the computer and put down my deposit to get one that night. So, it does happen. It's just absolutely incredible what happens when you're in that car. I can't wait till you experience it. It's insane.
But before we get the Roadsters, there are a couple of other things to look forward to.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Rivian R1T. We are one of the first who are going to get it. It should be coming out in June if they follow their timeline. Yep. And we've already picked the color. You can go see Jam's Now You Know Clips video about that to see what the color it's going to be. The reason we're getting the Rivian is because I don't want to do what car companies kind of make you do, which is, even if we're lucky enough, if we're big enough to go see the Rivian, which we've done before, I don't want to show you the Rivian by just walking around it in a showroom and being like, here you go, guys, it's here. I want to get in it, take it on adventures that are our adventures, and see how it actually performs in real life. Can you charge it up in the mountains?
Right. Because this is a big question for a lot of people who want the R1T. We don't necessarily want to own an R1T, but there is no other way for us to review the R1T without being really beholden to Rivian or any company. It's very hard to review any car that you were given for free to play around with for any length of time.
Right.
Because you want to, there's a guy who's going to hand you the keys and go, have fun out there. And you're going to go, oh, we will. I do want to make you happy because there might be another vehicle that we're going to want to review. And it creates this thing where we might not be completely honest if we were to receive the vehicle and not basically be on level footing with the company.
Right. I mean, to be honest, I want to take it up to Rich Rebuilds and I want to, beat his diesel pickup truck with it.
Right.
And see if you can.
Right. And, there could be some kind of, thing that we would be able to go to and they would have some curated ride where, they had in advance, placed the chargers. And it's like that would have been, fine and good. And that's great YouTube content. People would have liked to see that. But we really want to show you what it's actually like to have the Rivian R1T truck because we don't know what it's going to be like. We don't know what the charging is going to be like. I mean, that's one of the biggest fears in my mind is, I'm so used to the Tesla supercharger network that I'm like, okay, I want to go to Canada. All right, I can go. Oh, it's just COVID's the only thing that's stopping me. Oh, I want to get to the other side of the country. Supercharger network lets me do that. Am I going to feel the same way about the R1T after I've charged it a couple times?
And let's be honest, we've never seen the software. So, I mean, it looks great, but we want to actually experience how it performs.
And we might want to influence how the software works. We're in a position where we kind of have a bit of power, and being able to own the truck is going to really be able to push the company in whatever direction. We could conceivably say your directions suck. You need to have better, charging finding and stuff like that.
And I'm sure they'll listen to us.
Well, they might. I mean, if we have enough of support of the community,
right.
I think that we could bring some valuable perspectives to it.
That's a good point. Now let's talk about an even bigger truck because we are first in line. We're like number 60 something on the list to get the Tesla semi-truck. Again, that night when it came out, I ran to the computer and put down the deposit to get us on there. Now, why? Do I want to become a trucker? No.
You don't even want to drive the thing.
Not really. No. I mean,
that's the craziest thing in the world, that you don't want to drive the semi-truck.
I want to drive it without a load, but I mean, having a big load in the back, that's dangerous. Like, let's be honest. What I really want to do is I want truckers to drive it. I want to see if it really does what it's supposed to do and if it can change truckers' minds.
Right, because we don't necessarily have the best starting viewpoint from this. I've never been a trucker. I don't know the difficulties that truckers encounter in their day-to-day lives as truckers. So, yeah, we do want to get it in the hands of actual truckers to see what their actual thoughts are.
It's the number one job in almost every state in this country. And so it's going to affect a lot of people when this truck comes online. And I know that, Walmart and Budweiser are going to get these trucks. They're probably not going to want to talk too much about them other than some glossy marketing stuff. What I want to do, here's my goal. I want to get out on the road and get truckers in it pulling their loads from point A to point B and then talking to us about how did it respond? How did they like what it did and didn't do? And I think the only way to do that is to have you guys help us. So if you're out there right now and you own or run a trucking company of some kind, please reach out to me privately, Zac@NowYouKnowChannel.com. Let us know so that we can start to set up these relationships because that's the only way we're going to be able to actually accomplish this.
Because let's be honest, we could take the semi-truck, and we are going to do some of this. Take the semi-truck, put a big Winnebago on the back and take it up a mountain. We can do all of that stuff, and I want to do all that stuff. But again, there is a specific use case for the semi-truck. Right. It's not supposed to just be a luxury vehicle. It's supposed to be a working vehicle. Right. And we do want to show it in that respect for actual people to see what it's actually like because there are going to be a ton of questions for smaller trucking companies who could have a huge advantage by switching to an electric truck. If we're able to answer some of those questions, we might be able to make the switch happen a lot sooner. Because as we've seen, getting Teslas into the hands of people in a wide area has the effect of sowing seeds. Yep. We're like Johnny Appleseed, except with Teslas. Yep. Once you have someone in a community with a Tesla, if they're doing butts and seats and they're telling people about it, yep, you're going to end up with more Teslas. Yep. So that's what we want to do with the semi-truck, along with everything else, including the Roadster.
And that's really funny because a lot of people, especially on our road trips, ask us, so you work for Tesla? And it's like, no, we just believe in the company. And that's what's so crazy about this company. We're not alone. You guys are out there doing this every day too. You're telling people and getting butts and seats for your friends and family. That's the amazing part about this community, which leads me to the next truck. The Cybertruck.
The Cybertruck.
So when I was at the Cybertruck unveiling, and saw it drive up onto the stage. My brain, I think, cooked itself. It stopped functioning properly. All it said was, order it now. And so as I was live streaming it to you, I had another phone and I was desperately trying to order it. And it kept saying, busy, busy, busy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be thousands and thousands back on the list. I guess time was going slowly because it turns out I think we're number 20 on the list or thereabouts. So I've just seen on Cybertruck Owners Club, by the way, I think we're at 1.4 million reservations. So we're going to be getting the truck pretty much before anybody. And again, we're not going to keep it locked up in a box. We're going to show it to you and drive it around because that's the point of Cybertruck.
And I think we're going to shoot it with a gun.
I'd love to shoot it with a gun.
I think I've only shot a gun once before. I think I'm going to shoot a gun again, pointed at the Cybertruck.
Love it.
I might not be holding the gun. Let's be honest.
We might need an expert.
Might be a little bit more than... Or it might not be.
We should collab with a YouTuber who does this because it's a little out of our wheelhouse. But yes, true. I would love to shoot it with the gun. So again, if you want to help us with that, please reach out to us. And why are we doing this? Because this is an amazing new technology. I mean, we got to sit in it. And it changed my mind immediately when I got in it.
The interior is something that has absolutely not been covered one bit at all. And we've both been in it.
And we both felt the same way about it.
The interior is like nothing else I've ever been in. Yeah. I've been in pickup trucks before. I've been in the biggest of the pickup trucks. And they do feel roomy. They do feel spacious.
You've been in the Rivian.
This feels completely different.
Right. Yeah, because this. Like
the vault is insane. So that is
six.
And that's something that really excites me because it means I can take more people on a ride.
And I want to point out that we've had a bunch of people say to us, but it's not really a pickup truck. And I was like, what? I think so many people have seen it with the tonneau cover closed that they thought that it's like an SUV. They don't know about the bed. It has a bed. Right. It's a pickup truck.
Right. So, I mean, that is something that we're really, really excited to bring.
And I want to compare it. I want to show you the Rivian and the Cybertruck and show you what they both can do. You know, Rivian can tank turn. Cybertruck probably can't. But, you know, which one can get you in and out of trouble the best? Like, how powerful are they? That's the kind of stuff we want to show you. And that's why next year is so exciting because if Elon is right, if Austin gets finished on time, the Cybertruck will be rolling out probably in December. And so a year from now, we could be in Austin driving around the Cybertruck and showing you guys.
And those are just the things that we have planned. There are a lot of other electric trucks and cars that are coming out. If you have any connections to any of the companies that are doing any of the things, or you know someone who owns one of these vehicles that are coming out, or basically has a reservation is going to get one, please reach out to us because we are nothing without our community, right? We can't do a lot of the most amazing things that we've ever done. We're because of you guys. And so we can't go out and buy every electric car on the road. I know it seems crazy. We can't really afford the Cybertruck at the moment.
Right.
We're going to have to do a lot of saving.
I was going to talk to you about your salary.
Yeah, we've been saving for this thing for as soon as we knew that it existed.
Right.
And it's going to come out down to the wire. We're probably going to be looking for a bank to loan us money to own a semi-truck.
Can you imagine that conversation? All right, so how many trucking companies have you owned in the past? None.
How many trucks are in your fleet? None. How many drivers do you have? None.
Do you know how to drive a truck? No.
No. Do you have your CDL license? No. Not yet. But again, that might be something that we do. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of unknowns, but we're going to be working towards all of this.
And let's talk about something that's not a truck. Now We Act. So this is a nonprofit that Jesse and I set up this year, and we're working feverishly on software to bring Now We Act to life.
And what this program will do is allow for people around the world to start a project. So many things in this world can be accomplished by going to some meetings, by making your voice heard, by accumulating a group of people who agree on something and want to push to get that thing accomplished.
Right. I mean, you want to get solar on the roof of your school. It's not impossible. It just takes some work. But a lot of people don't know where to start.
And that's completely normal because it's not a terribly common thing to have happened in the past. It's not like your father would have been able to do that or your great grandmother would have been able to put solar on her school because her school probably had a horse bringing the students to school, or they had to walk uphill both ways. So it's a completely new and different world that we're in, and we need to be teaching each other now. It can't be kind of passed down the way that things normally would have been. And that's where Now React comes in, because not only are we going to be able to accumulate people to work together to accomplish particular projects, but also we're going to be able to take those learnings and move them on to the next project. So that way, when it's like, oh, you know what you need to do? Send a gift basket to your school superintendent. That's going to get you on his or her good graces, and that's going to really lead to a lot of extra progress. Or make sure that the custodians like you. All of the things that we don't know about yet. And I know that we're just talking about putting solar on schools. That's one example of thousands of potential ideas. We're working on the software to make it happen pretty much globally. And we're very excited to, we're getting close, I think, to being able to release it to some of the first people.
Yeah. And then I want to talk about the Now You Know Investor Club, because this started as kind of just a crazy idea one day where we were like, you know what? We get emails all the time from people who are like, how do you invest in a stock? Or, hey, Zac and Jesse, I invested in Tesla and I made a lot of money. How do I do that some more?
And we've sent out probably thousands of emails about stock questions, about, I actually don't know anything about options trading because I'm not an options trader. I'm just here to, I bought Tesla. So we knew that we wouldn't have all the answers. We also knew that we wouldn't be able to keep up with everyone's questions. So we thought, let's start a group, a club of people who are interested in investing and who have watched the channel.
Right.
And
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at over 1,000 members right now in just a couple months. And what's really cool to me is we've got two cool ways to communicate. We've got a Slack, which is, if you don't know, it's basically a way that we can all talk in a very organized way with channels. And for instance, when Tesla was getting onto the S&P the other day, there was a Slack channel that was just alive with conversation of what's going on now? What is this happening? Oh, wow. And there was dumb questions being asked. There was smart answers being given. It's a perfect community of people who can just do it for fun or for good information.
And we also have live streams where we're able to talk directly to you. You are able to talk directly to us.
And we bring in CEOs and presidents of companies to tell you what they're doing with their startups. It's been hugely valuable to hear from companies. I mean, I want to bring up Marcus Lee, who is the founder of Eli Vehicles, and he's making the Zero electric car.
We had no idea what Eli, the company, was. We'd never heard of it.
But someone on our Now You Know Investor Club told us about it. I reached out to Marcus, got him to talk to us, and now you can go over to the Disruptive Investing channel and see the interview with him. We actually got him to talk directly to our club, and so we got to see if we wanted to invest in his company.
Right, we had people from our club asking him questions. This was the first time that Marcus had ever been interviewed. He is the CEO of an electric car startup, and no one had ever interviewed him before. We were the first. He literally told us, he was like, I don't even know what to do, because I've never been interviewed before.
Right. He's been so busy working on his car.
And that is the power of the Investor Club. He said, how did you find out about me?
Yeah.
He had no idea how we would have heard of him. And it's because we have 1,000 people with their ears to the ground.
Yep.
And we're able to hear the story first. So we can get in now.
Yes. I can't tell you how many companies I'm reaching out to because of your tips, which is absolutely wonderful. And I've started investing when I was 13. And I've, over the years, spent thousands of dollars on investor newsletters where you spend money to get stock tips. And I've learned the hard way that stock tips are pretty much a dime a dozen. I mean, the internet now, you can go on any YouTube channel and they'll be like, buy this stock. What you really want, I think, is a place where you can ask questions, a place where you can share ideas.
And do your own research.
Exactly. And that's what we actually have with our investor club. We just didn't even know it when we started it.
And the crazy part to me is that everyone is on the same page. If you've watched this channel, you know that we're very big into EVs, and that EVs is a growing thing. It's going to be this S-curve. It's going to completely take over vehicles as we know it. And no one else in the whole world seems to know anything about it. You go on most major news stations, and for the past 5 years, it's been, I go even further back, it's been nothing but like, electric cars. Who the heck knows? I think that they're crap. What about you, Bob? Well, Bob, let me tell you, I don't think that they're good at all. No one has been thinking about electric vehicles at all, and it's about to disrupt the entire industry.
Speaking of disruption, that's why we started the Disruptive Investing channel, because we realized we need to talk about this stuff, and that's where we're doing it. So head over to the Disruptive Investing channel right now and subscribe, because a whole lot of cool videos are coming out there, stuff that you're really not going to find anywhere else, because you've given us this opportunity to talk to people who are disruptive.
And as we begin to wrap up this video, know that there is more stuff coming.
That wasn't enough.
On, for instance, the Investor Club, we have something brewing.
Oh, yeah.
We had this idea, and we can't tell you about it. But we have this idea, and if you go to the Investor Club, you can learn about it through some videos that we've uploaded to our Patreon. And
that's all we can say.
It's really, I think I've said just about everything, but it's really exciting.
It is exciting.
And it's, again, stuff that I didn't think would happen.
Yep. Again, an idea that came from our viewers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just know that if you're subscribed to this channel and you've hit the little notification bell to get all the notifications, we're going to be doing a lot of exciting stuff in the next year, the next few years. We have so much exciting stuff planned. We're so excited to take you along with us on this ride. And while you're sitting at home, drinking some eggnog or whatever, we hope that you enjoy some of the stuff that we've already accomplished and get as excited as we are about the future, because a lot of the stuff that we're going to be showing you first are stuff that is going to be available to hopefully everyone in the future, from different electric vehicles to exciting investment opportunities.
I mean, I can't wait to go to Las Vegas and take the boring tunnel across town, or to hop on a SpaceX flight to Asia and,
Or the
have
moon.
lunch or the moon. Exactly. Yeah. It's not out of the realm anymore.
Right.
So exciting. Can't wait to take you guys along for the ride. So stay connected with us. Hopefully next year will be brighter than this year.
Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button. We'll see you next week. Now you know.